What's up, everyone? I'm Skinner, and
I'm Mac.
we're AC3 TV. Today, we're here at Zero City Comics off of 281 and Evans. So let's give you a sneak peek if you haven't already been here. Zero City Comic hooked us up with some really cool DC Rebirth stuff, and we're super excited. We're going to tell you a little bit about it. So let's start with Batman Rebirth. What did you think about it?
So I honestly haven't actually been a DC comic reader. I've been a really big fan of all the animated films and the animated series. So this, and actually all the Rebirth books, was really a good jumping on point that someone who hasn't followed it for months or years or for their entire lives, it's something that it's easy to jump into, and it's not weighed down with a lot of backstory that you have to know exactly what happened with who and what and where. And so with Batman, it really just wastes no time by dropping you right into the action and just right into this really, it's a short story, but it's really well done, where you're dealing with the Calendar Man, and it's really kind of showing it in kind of a calendar format. It's really cool.
Absolutely. I liked how jumping right into the issue, it seemed as if theatrical in a sense. You can see just the name of the artist, the writers and stuff as it's popping up, and it just kind of like really pulls you into the story instantly. We got to see Calendar Man molting in it, which is like really crazy. The artwork is just phenomenal in it. You get to see Bruce Wayne literally hanging off the edge of a helicopter pad working out on like a 20-story building. So that's pretty awesome.
It was like, no, I'm not Batman. I'm just hanging off this 50-story building, doing pull-ups with one arm.
Well, it was awesome. I loved it.
One thing that and of course coming from someone who hasn't followed Batman for the past year, with the new character who everyone thought was going to be the next Robin, and so Batman gives him this entirely different suit, but we don't really know what he's called yet. I mean,
no name was listed at all.
Is he like?
He's like, I have something in mind. All right, so as you know, I'm not super huge on DC, but what about Detective Comics?
It was actually really, really good.
Yeah.
So one thing that I really liked is that it's really focusing on the on Batman's the group, the affiliate group. You have Batwoman, Cassandra Cain in there. You got Red Robin, which is Tim Drake, and then you also have the other characters in there, like Clayface, and I think I forget the names of the other two.
Clayface. I remember whenever they were talking about the whole entire Rebirth, and you could see the cover issue coming out, and everybody was on, and everyone was like, "Clayface, what?"
He's like, what the heck? Well, yeah. So he's apparently like a good guy now.
I know.
Yeah, and so the book starts off with them practicing in some kind of like an X-Men Danger Room thing with using Clayface's ability to create all the stuff that they're fighting, and it's really it's definitely setting a different tone, and it's showing that it's going to be a separate story from from it being just about Batman. They've got their own hideout, they've got their own base of operations in Gotham City, and they really really emphasize that, which is really cool. The artwork was really good, but kind of threw me off because there were some panels where where it's obviously hand drawn, but then there's panels where it looks very painterly, very painted and
oil painted in a sense. Yeah, I know you were showing me some of the pages and it looked great, but at the same time it was just one tiny panel.
Yeah,
they should have done the entire page that way and went to regular colors on the next page or whatever, but it did throw me off a little bit also.
Yeah, a little bit, but the story was very well paced, very well written. You get a good sense of who these characters are and what they're about, and then they still managed to to bring in what I can only guess is going to be the overarching meta plot. They introduced some kind of a new group, and you can tell that the story is definitely going to be dealing with them trying to figure out who that group is.
So is this something you're going to keep reading?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I definitely like the feel and the rhythm and how all the characters played off of each other.
Cool. Well, there you got it.
Okay, so the next one that we're talking about is Green Lantern's Rebirth, which was a very very good book that you can jump into without knowing a lot of what happened with Green Lantern. Like
exactly, and that's what it was for me. Kind of jumping into it, it gives you the entire details of how Green Lantern kind of came to be.
Yeah.
All the other human Green Lanterns that started with Green Lantern Corp, and it worked well. It's something to just jump into if you don't know anything about him.
Yeah, and the character narration at the beginning of the book, like in one page, it was like, okay, this is what's happened with the Green Lanterns, and now we're moving on to these new characters, and so you have Simon Baz, and then you have the character of Jessica, who were introduced during the New 52 time frame, but definitely this book is going to be focusing on them with what they're dealing with on Earth,
their struggles.
Yes,
as Green Lanterns is what I was getting out of it immediately. They're learning how to use their powers.
Yeah.
They're trying to be human and still struggle with kind of getting rid of that fear.
Yeah, definitely. And then also, it's going to be very interesting to see how the characters play off of each other, because right off the bat, they're like oil and water, and
they're bumping heads already.
And bumping heads, and then you have Hal Jordan come in, and it's like, okay, like Hal Jordan came in like your mom when you were fighting with your sister.
Okay,
and it's like,
knock it off, you two.
Like if that's how you're gonna be, you're gonna share. And it's gonna make a very interesting dynamic watching those characters interact on that level. And then like the last page, I'm not gonna spoil it for everyone, but the last page was very exciting, because you definitely get a sense of who the main villain is gonna be, at least for the first story arc. And it looks like it's gonna be a really, really like good, very high-powered book in terms of character development, character story, but also action, because you have that group who start off the narration, and like that last splash page, you definitely can tell that they're going to be the ones that are going to be raising some hell here on planet Earth.
It's going to be exciting to kind of go forward, especially for somebody who's not a Green Lantern fan.
Yes.
It definitely pulled me into the story. So.
Yeah, it's of the ones that I've read, it's definitely the one that is going to be the easiest for someone to jump into without having to know everything that happened before.
All right, so tell me a bit about Justice League.
So Justice League was one where it dropped you into like an ongoing story, where like it dropped you right in the middle of the action, and it was really a play on the Justice League, how they're working without Superman, and then like kind of intercutting with the Clark Kent and Lois Lane from the previous universe, who have been living in the New 52 universe for several years, and he's kind of just like doing stuff like incognito, not really being out there. And so you see that conversation between them about should he take up the mantle of Superman now that the New 52 Superman is dead, and join the Justice League. And so you kind of like, it's playing that conversation between Lois and Clark, intercut with Justice League fighting like this big gigantic like sea monster kind of a thing. And so it was really an interesting play, but in terms of continuity, you can't really tell exactly like between this and then the actual Superman book, Action Comics, where each one is placed, because you don't know if he has interacted with them before, because when you look at, because in the Justice League book, it actually talks about how they've talked with him before, and they're like, should we work with them, should we not work with them, kind of a thing. So it's kind of hard to place where the story actually is, but it's definitely a very action-packed story, but it was very much focused more on Superman and less on the team dynamic. You only had like 2 pages of that.
So is he being invited to the Justice League at this point, or is he just like, okay, Lois, what do you think I should do? Because he's being smart, he's asking the woman first, right?
Yeah. So I mean, like there's actually 2 pages where it is a Justice League team, and they're talking about him.
Okay.
And should we work with them? Yes, he's Superman, but he's not our Superman.
Yeah.
And debating whether or not they should bring him in. And of course, Batman's like, well, I'd rather have him. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of team dissonance with that decision to bring him on.
It's pretty cool. I'm digging it. So you gonna keep reading?
This one, probably, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So with Action Comics Rebirth, it's definitely a different type of story, because you're seeing Clark Kent, the Clark Kent from the other universe, actually, putting on the Superman suit and going into Metropolis to fight Doomsday, which one that's a whole interesting look in regards to his thought patterns of, well, I've already fought Doomsday, he's already killed me, and now it's like he's here for the first time.
Wild, right?
And so the the reactions of him and of Lois, both of them freaking out because they know what happened last time and they're not quite sure he would come back again if he died again. And then you also have that intercut with Lex Luthor, who at the end of New 52 actually created his own super suit after Superman died. Well, the New 52 Superman died, and he's like, well, I'm gonna be Superman now. And so seeing them butt heads while trying to save civilians and kill Doomsday was really, really interesting. And then you have this observer who's watching the fight, and you kind of think he has something to do with it, but you're not quite sure. And so it's definitely a nod to a larger story that's going to play off in the pages of Action Comics.
You sound pretty interested in it. I'm assuming you're going to keep reading.
Probably. I will probably keep reading this one, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, there you have it. Action Comics. So we've talked about some of the books for DC Rebirth, as you can see here. Don't forget to check out the latest that's coming out. We want to hear what you have to say about them, and go ahead and comment on our social media. Follow us on YouTube, and don't forget to stop by Zero City Comics, open up your own sub box, and pick up the remainder and whatever else you're really interested into comic-wise. We'll see you later. My name's Skinner.
I'm Mac.
And we're AC3 TV.